Blizzard dropping their State of Azeroth event yesterday, and while there were some announcements, it's probably lends credence to the fact that this didn't really have to be a meeting. It probably could have been an email. But there were some announcements I think that people aren't giving enough attention to, and we're going to get into some of that stuff as well as some of the things you may have missed. First off, early access? That's right, February 26th, for all of you people who ordered the Epic Edition and are shills to Blizzard like myself, you get early access, and it's actually a day earlier than I was expecting it to be, so we're supposed to get 3 days early access. It's dropping on February 26th. For that early access time. I was expecting the 27th to be 3 days out from the actual launch, but we're kind of giving it 3.5 days out at this point. So there you go. Early access probably means I'm playing this expansion all day Friday. It could be an all-day stream on that one, but we'll get into that and have fun with it. But yeah, mark your calendars, boys and degenerates. 26th of February, early access launch. Also, a few people were wondering, how are we going to get that Dark Portal toy? Well, all you got to do is log in. That's right. Have an active subscription up for WoW and log in on the days between January 29th and March 2nd, and you will get yourself the big boy Dark Portal toy. That's right, the nice Dark Portal decor item, I should say, not toy, that you can place in your house just about anywhere. You are not prepared for how good this decor is going to look, we could say. So this is a nice looking one. Blizzard did announce this during the event, and it's a nice little tidbit here. Log in, get yourself a portal. Also, another thing announced in the event, the Ambassador Program, okay? So we're going to get into some of the big features for the game. Right now, I'm just kind of going through some of the lesser-known things. Ambassador Program,
servant, we have a realm
J.
to
Colt.
destroy.
Thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge. The Ambassador Program, I've been talking about this for a while, that I thought Blizzard needed, or World of Warcraft in general, needed some type of Ambassador Program. I brought a lot of family members into this game, a lot of cousins, a lot of friends. I've ruined a lot of people's lives with World of Warcraft, and oftentimes when I brought them into the game, I acted as an ambassador, right? I showed them the way, taught them how to play the game, told them how to accept a quest and how to download add-ons, which I don't have to do anymore, right? Because everything's built into the game, so that's nice. But showed them basically the ropes of how to do a dungeon, how to do all these things, and, led them into the addiction path that is World of Warcraft. So now, it looks like that's an official thing. So what the Ambassador Program is, it's really a Discord channel, but you basically sign up to join the Ambassador Program. You can sign up at this link right here. I'll link this in the chat and down below the video. And you get put into what is a like Discord known as the Portal Room. Okay, and this place, the Portal Room, is a place where all the ambassadors can get together with the new players. They can go ahead and plan new events and stuff like that, so kind of cool. This Portal Room, or Getaway for the Community, is meant to be like a huddle space for everybody who's joining the game and wants to contribute to the new players in the game. There will be events planned for this thing, cool things to be had from this event. I'm hoping the Ambassador Program also plays off the Recruit a Friend, kind of, where you have the Hearthstone that allows you to get to each other and all that kind of stuff. Not too many details, really, other than the fact that there's that Discord, and they want this program to be something designed to empower dedicated and experienced players who want to help shape the World of Warcraft community, both in-game and beyond. Our vision is simple: foster engagement, connection among players, and ensuring everyone feels at home, whether they are a veteran raider or just starting out in Azeroth. So there you go. Kind of a way, I guess, to train new players up on how to play this game for the rest of their lives, like us. So there you go. That's the Ambassador Program. Now, getting into the more important shit, okay? The real things that were announced yesterday, and there weren't many of them, but some of these are quite interesting. So first off, we got our little, roadmap for 2026, looking at this, and something interesting that came up when I was looking at this is, right away, I was like, oh, there's so many raids on this thing. And I'm going to explain why that is the case here. But first off, we have the launch in winter, right? So we already know this is going to be a March 2nd official launch. We just talked about the early February launch date for this thing. But we have 4 new zones, Midnight Campaign, new leveling cap, Harneer, Prey System, 10 new delves, 8 new dungeons, and 3 new raids. Now that's right, 3 new raids, but you can also look at this roadmap and count. There are actually 1 and then new raids here, so 2, this is about another set of probably 3 raids, and then 3 here. So there's a couple raids dropping, especially on in-between patches, which is a new thing for Blizzard here, and I'm going to explain why that's a new thing and what that means for the game going forward. But we are, in fact, getting 4 raids for the first season based on this map. Also, I didn't get the 0.5 patch. Void Assaults and Prop Hunt. So there you go. The Prop Hunt, I'll talk a little bit about that event and what it's going to do for the game. It sounded like a kind of a fun little mini game that we'll be able to play in the game. Nothing really major in terms of content. Really, it'll be the Void Assaults. And what those look like is basically what I expected the pre-patch to be. It looks like a play on Legion Invasions. You got big void portals opening up in the sky and voidy boys pouring out, and you got to kill them. Interestingly enough, this isn't something I was expecting for an actual in-game feature. I thought it was going to be something really just for pre-patch. This is why I've been saying all along, why does pre-patch feel dead? We really thought we were going to get these void assaults for pre-patch, but it looks like Blizzard wants to make them a feature of the game. So we'll see what that's going to look like. Again, it sounds like Void Invasions, looks like Void Invasions, smells like Void Invasions. Probably is a play on Void Invasions. Or I should say, I was meant to say Legion Invasions. So it's probably going to be like Legion Invasions, maybe some gear or something attached to it. We'll see what that is. But that is your 0.5 patch there. And then 12.0.7 story quests. We got Void Assault Escalations, so we're taking it up a notch, I guess, with these Void Assaults. New raid. This is your in-between raid. This is a single boss raid that we're going to be getting mid-season. So this is pretty cool. Something new here from Blizzard. We have gotten single boss raids before. We got one in Dragonflight. We had one back in Wrath of the Lich King with Ruby Sanctum. So we've done this before. What we haven't done before is had this thing launch separately in a 0.7 patch format. So this is an interesting way to drop a new raid. Blizzard did say this one is going to be less about the story, more just about kind of giving us some additional content. The second in-between patch new raid, that one is more story related, they said. Turbulent Timeways will also be coming back in the 0.7 patch. So there you go if you want to level up or catch up because you didn't launch like a degenerate with the rest of the community. At 12.1, we're getting our second season, right? This will be happening in the summer. So maybe who knows, April, May, June, July timeline, we might expect some of this to drop. New zone, new raid, new dungeons, new delves, new world bosses, housing, social, and UI updates. So this will be our first round of UI updates, post all the pre-patch UI updates that we got. Maybe some new stuff coming, maybe more features coming to the in-game UI, and maybe less of a need for add-ons once again. We'll see how good they do with it. But this will be your official launch of Season 2, followed by the September 12th BlizzCon. Yes, very exciting stuff. BlizzCon will be launching, probably getting some Last Titan news, more maybe another cinematic for Midnight as we head into what will be kind of the closing stages of Midnight as we get closer to Season 3 here. Or we just had launched Season 2, but we're starting to get into Season 3 maybe. 12.1.5 will hit after BlizzCon. We have the Labyrinths. We'll talk a little bit about Labyrinths. To me, it's a big deal. This is probably the biggest feature we're getting out of Midnight. Mythal, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge. Labyrinths, I think, will change the game. Much like Delves did, Labyrinths seem like something that's going to be really cool, single-player progression content that gives you gear as well. So we're going to talk more about Labyrinths and what Blizzard said about them. Here we get another new raid, another single boss in-between raid. Blizzard described this one more as being related to the story of Midnight and what's going to happen next as we get to a kind of a midpoint / post-midpoint of Midnight here. And then new content and systems. Not much details there. We don't know what the fuck that means or what it's going to be. But yeah, there you go. New content systems. And then 12.1.7. Story quests. Holiday updates, because it'll probably be around the December period, right? November, December. New standalone mode. We'll see what that is. And then Turbulent Timeways kicks off as well here once again. So there you go. That's your 2026 roadmap. We've seen so far Blizzard does stick to these things. This is gospel here. Blizzard will stick to the roadmap, so we are going to probably get these things at the time that they're saying here. I'm excited for it. I think there's going to be some cool new stuff coming out of this. And what is that new stuff? Well, first of all, Labyrinths. Okay, Labyrinths look freaking amazing. To me, this was the most significant announcement from yesterday. This is something that I think is finally maybe what Torghast was supposed to be all along, mixed with Delves. This looks like some really cool content. And what exactly is a Labyrinth? Well, in addition to being significantly larger than normal dungeons, Labyrinths are unique in that they are tackled all at once or a bit at a time, giving players the freedom to progress at their own pace rather than a typical one-shot scenario like a delve is. This combination makes Labyrinths more like a mega delve or raid equivalent for solo and small group players. So they gave us this map here. First of all, they gave us this image, kind of maybe a artistic rendition of what a labyrinth could look like. We see what looks like players here. So in terms of size and scale, this thing looks absolutely huge. I mean, this looks like you're going a Lord of the Rings adventure underground. This is very high fantasy-esque stuff, right? It's a delve raid. Yeah, a delve raid or a mega delve, as they mentioned it. This looks really cool. Just the size and scale based on this, it looks like we got a 5-player, 6-player group here. So they're heading into what is going to be this labyrinth, and it looks like there's different roads they can take, different sections. Blizzard also gave us this map here. So what we have is what looks like a central chamber, and then here's the entrance, and then you head off into the different chambers here. Perhaps there's bosses, different mobs, different styles of gameplay in each of these zones. And what's cool is Blizzard said you could do it, in pieces, right? So Greg from accounting, prepare yourself to be in a labyrinth all week. That's right. So Greg, we know Greg from accounting. They're just a guy out there. He's doing his job, and he gets to go down into his dungeon basement every night to get away from his abusive wife and enjoy his life for a little bit. Well, now Greg can chop away at this labyrinth throughout the week before reset and clear this thing and perhaps get some really good gear. Blizzard did say there will be rewards related to this thing. So I'm expecting if you're doing a labyrinth, the rewards should be better than what delves are. And delve rewards have already been kicked up a notch in this expansion. So moving on into Midnight, I'm expecting labyrinths to drop some really raid equivalent level gear. This will be a really nice way for solo players to progress, people who don't group up, the Gregs of accounting, as I said before, but also could be a really nice side piece of content for those people who do enjoy raiding and Mythic Plus, but you get tired of it after a while. Maybe you want to progress a different way. It looks like labyrinths are going to be that. So this is really, really cool. I think this is probably the most major contribution that Midnight is going to make to the game. I think Labyrinths are going to be another trail of content that will continue on going forward. Some evergreen content that'll go in every expansion after this. Rewards from Labyrinths? Shocking. Yeah, I know, right? Do you know if they made this for egotistical players like you, Sam? Probably. I mean, we all know this chamber, I'm going to pull a slappy hands, pull all this shit at once. We know that. I'll try to take my time as I go through the labyrinth, but for the most part, I'll probably one-shot this entire thing. Looks pretty cool. Should be fun content. I think labyrinths are going to be a very big deal. Also, Valera Sanguinar will be joining us in them. Moving on to another piece of interesting content that was announced yesterday, the standalone game mode. Now, this standalone game mode was mentioned by Blizzard to be in the calendar here. So we see the standalone game mode. Where the hell did this thing say it was going to launch? The standalone game mode 12.1.7. Now, what exactly is this thing? Well, we didn't get many details on it, but we do have hints from things that were previously data mined. So in the State of Azeroth presentation, a new standalone game mode was revealed, currently slated to release in the Midnight Patch 12.1.7 due late autumn of 2026. We didn't get much more information beyond the concept art for a dark, shrouded town of Azeroth haunted by ethereal, growing magic, reminiscent of the Drust of Kultir. So this is the image we got here, the standalone mode. Now this is interesting. This thing is being created by the same team that brought us Plunderstorm, right? So Blizzard already described this as an out-of-game game mode, right? Not part of the main game that you can queue up for and play. Now, what exactly could it be? They said it is not another Plunderstorm. It's not a variation on Plunderstorm, but it's being created by the same team. So we know it's not this, like, full-bore PvP game mode that we got with Plunderstorm. But what we also know is this thing is being described as potentially a Among Us type game mode, maybe? Yeah. So first of all, I'm going to tell you why we think this is an Among Us type game mode. And second of all, I'm going to tell you that we're getting even more hints that this is exactly what they're getting. So back when we saw the PAX East, if you guys remember, this was a big thing that Blizzard went to. And they basically announced the forum about how they developed games and how they learned how to develop Blizzard and World of Warcraft in a better way. This was back in May of 2025. We learned that there was a new experimental game mode in development for future release. The key art showcased and depicted a town that looked like Darkshire within a haunted forest of Duskwood, which does seem to match the concept art. I agree. This does look very much like Duskwood does look like the concept art. Blizzard confirmed in the PAX that this upcoming game mode would not be a battle royale like Plunderstorm. Instead, it will have the vibe more similar to a scary story leading many to speculate about the potential of a murder mystery party game possibly inspired by Among Us. That's right. So interesting that we saw something like Among Us hinted at before with this image, and now a very similar image being posted up for this new standalone game mode. Now, I personally think this is what it could be as well. And another reason why I think that is because of this whole Disguise Yourself event that was launched, that was mentioned as well during this thing. So this Disguise Yourself event, this will launch before this new standalone event on 12.0.5, and what it is essentially is like a hide-and-seek game. Now, I think this is a nice little cute thing that Blizzard put in, but what I really think is this is a testing thing for whatever this standalone game mode is going to be. Because what you've got here is people will be able to disguise themselves as props, and you'll be running around trying to click on them and find the person. It's a hide-and-seek game. I think they said a 5v5 hide-and-seek game. Yeah, so in Silvermoon, you transform yourself into furniture, pieces of whatever, and people got to try to find you. Well, I think this thing is going to be played with kind of the same functionality that this does. So discovering who the murderer is in the Among Us version probably will play off the same mechanics that this hide-and-seek game will play off of. So we'll see. I thought the peak we got yesterday looked like a prop hunt too. Maybe. We'll see. Isn't this a prop? It could be a Vampire Survivor mode. Now, the reason why people think it might be a Vampire Survivor mode is back in 2023 in Dragonflight, a Vampire Survivor mode style game tag was found in the data mining. So data mining revealed Vampire Survivor mode being something in the text there. So people thought, oh, maybe we're getting some kind of Vampire Survivor mode. That could be what this is. This could be some kind of invasion of the Scourge or whatever, or the Drust into this village, and it's a Vampire Survivor mode where you're just getting crazy abilities and surviving as long as you can. That could also be it. But the Among Us take, it's a good one. It's a good one. Would I care either way? I think Among Us game style or a Vampire Survivor mode would be welcome, for sure. It'd be a very cool take on this stuff. We'll see if it ends up happening. Interestingly enough, the timeline for this thing to be launched, I mean, where did I say it again? A new standalone game mode? This could be in autumn, could be an October Halloween event, maybe? So the haunting of it all, everything, it could very much fall into that Halloween timeline where we get some really cool new Halloween event out of this, because it definitely looks like a very haunted-esque, theme to this whole thing. So we'll see. But the standalone game mode did look very interesting, along with this cool Disguise Yourself 5v5 hide-and-seek event that's launching in 12.0.5. Besides that, we also got those mid-season raids, right? So I talked about this when we went through the calendar just now. 12.0.7 and 12.1.5 are going to bring us, for the first time, mid-patch raids. That's right. It's a new concept from Blizzard, dropping these things. Now, we are already getting a 3-raid package for the first season. This is actually a 4th raid. These are both single boss raids here that are going to be dropping. We'll get one this season and one in the second season. The first one is called Sporefall. It takes on a very Horror theme. Yes, you heard me say that right. Sporefall is a 1-boss raid, so this will be something fun that we could do as we wait for kind of the next season to kick off. This thing will be launching with the 0.5 or 0.7 patch. Should be fun. We'll see how this all works out. I'm excited for it. I like single boss raids. I remember Gruul's Lair was always fun. Ruby Life Sanctum, not Ruby Life Sanctum, but the the Emerald patch that we got back in Wrath of the Lich King. That was a fun one as well. So we've had things like this before. Crucible of the Storms was another good one, and I'm thinking, yeah, Ruby Sanctum was another one from Wrath of the Lich King. Those single boss raids are fun. They usually give some good gear, quick thing in and out, and we're getting them on top of the raids we're already getting. So this is a nice little bonus here that I didn't realize we were going to get. Zangamarsh vibe, for sure. Yeah, definitely gives off Zangamarsh vibes. The whole new zone for the Harnier really gives off that kind of vibe. So we'll see what this raid looks like. The second raid that we're getting in the 0.7 patch, that one's going to be interesting as well. So we got the 0.1, 0.5 patch. That one is supposed to be more story mode related. So Blizzard did not announce what the name of the second single boss raid is going to be, but they said this one is going to be very much related to kicking off the story that'll lead into kind of what Season 3 is going to be in the finishing of the War with of Midnight. So we'll see what that looks like. As I said before, yeah, more raid content, great. You know, less of that kind of lull between the season launch, raids going. That's why I'm kind of excited for the whole 3 raid layout as well. You know, it's going to drag out that content a little bit longer. It's not going to feel like, oh, I got AOTC, now I'm not going to raid for the next 6 months or whatever it is, 4 or 5 months. No, now we're going to get AOTC by completing all these raids in their chapters as they release. I think it's a cooler way to do it. We'll see how it feels as we go through the season. But yeah, technically 4 raids dropping in that first season. That's a lot of content to do, and we'll have plenty of gear to get, hopefully, out of it. Looking beyond the big announcements, we got this cinematic. I'm sure all of you guys have seen it already. The rogue girl fighting off the void and then going back to her home with her loot from it as a decor item. There were some interesting little Easter eggs to be found here, and also some announcements that Ian Hazzikostas made on the side as well. So, transmog and weapons being shown off. So, in the cinematic, we see a lot of transmog and weapons. Clear. This is from Legion. This is one of the artifact weapons for rogues. So, really cool stuff we see, right? Yeah, look at that. We got Illidan's weapons hanging out there. And then some more gear here. So, what was shown off a lot, Sulfuris as well, what was shown off is clearly gear just being hanging out everywhere. So, it looks like Blizzard is working on, potentially, a transmog system where you can pull from your transmog list and drop it right into your house. Your favorite weapons hanging on the wall. Maybe you just got them hanging around on the floor. Who knows? But you could put your gear and weapons everywhere. This looks like something that is currently unannounced, but is a feature Blizzard's working on. Also, Blizzard did mention this one. Ian specifically said we could be mounting up on our mounts on a stable outside of our home. That's what this image is showing right here. And we also see a pet laying down next to the fire. That's right. That was a pretty exciting one for a lot of people who love housing. You will have the ability to have your pets running around your home. This is something people will love to be able to do, something that people who are really into player housing have been asking for, and it looks like Blizzard's going to give them to them. And then another one here, Toys on Parade. That's right. If you look at this image, there's a bunch of Pepes. The Dreadlord Overlord himself, Pepe, hanging out in the top of these rafters here. So these are toys. Everyone knows Pepes are toys in the game. Looks like we're going to be able to put our toys in the houses as well. And then finally, this image right here, which looks like an in-game screenshot being displayed on a desk inside the house. So this would be a pretty damn crazy feature. We just saw recently the reintegration of the X app or Twitter, where you could take a screenshot and post it in the game. So Blizzard is reintegrating that whole ability to screenshot or take selfies in the game, pictures in the game, and then post them places. Will you be able to post things like that in your home? Maybe hang them on your wall, maybe put them up on your table. That would be really cool. We see the girl here in the image. She's the one in the cinematic, surrounded by a bunch of people here in-game. Clearly looks like an in-game screenshot. So we'll see if that's an actual thing that you'll be able to do. Does look pretty cool. I'm not a big player housing Andy, but I can appreciate the features that Blizzard's putting into it and the work they're putting into it, because it is a lot, and a lot of it's what people ask for, like these stables and pets and stuff. So we'll see what all that looks like. Anything with the house is not exciting. Look, Pella, I don't disagree, because I'm not a big player housing person. I'm not going to do a lot of this shit, but like I said, I can appreciate all the work they're putting into it and the stuff that's coming out with it. And hey, maybe some of these features and dev time eventually get back into the main game. They are entitled to be wrong. That's right. That's right. Besides that, new charity pet pack. This is the final thing here. If you want to donate to a charity, this is one way to do it. Habitat for Humanity partnered up with WoW, and they are giving a charity pet, the companion Rufus. That's right. He loves to construct things. He looks like they were showing off some cool animations where he actually builds stuff out. You'll also get 2 decor items, the dog house and the dog bed and pet bowl. So a nice little charity thing if you want to contribute in a way and get a pet out of it. Habitat for Humanity and Blizzard teaming up on this one. Overall, these announcements, some of them really cool. Again, I think labyrinths are probably the biggest deal that was announced the other day. Blizzard could have really just sent out like a nice little YouTube video about this shit, but they did a whole announcement thing. They're trying maybe to hype up a little bit more. Labyrinths, this standalone game patch, this looks pretty cool. And then kind of the raids, right? The single boss raids dropping between all the other raid content we're getting. Some nice stuff announced here. We'll see how all this plays out, if this is actually going to be fun when we get there, because that's what matters. And we're getting it, again, February 26th with early access, boys. And for now, that is all in terms of news.